I don't know, some internet technology issue. My apologies. You know, these things happen. What to do? I wish I knew how to handle them better, but unfortunately, technology is not in my hand. Internet is not in my hand. So, really appreciate you. Go back and come back and go back and come back. It was getting stuck, so then it automatically just went off. So, no problem. So, I was going to say this only, that while I think we are now ready to make our own decisions, sometimes thanks to experience, the parents can see that our love is slightly blind and that we are not being able to see the whole picture. So if they are going exactly by the book, okay, which means the only reason we are rejecting him is because of the community he belongs to, or because of the, if they have like a thing that they are not checking the person, they are checking their criteria list. If that is the case, then I think it would be wise of you to sit down and explain to them that you please agree, otherwise I'll be left with no choice, right? But if the thing is that they are looking at the guy and feeling like, look at the feedback they're giving you, and they're feeling like the guy is not great. Like I remember one of my cousins was getting married, and she was getting married outside the community, and they said had he been from our community, we would have been totally okay with this guy. So she went ahead and married him because they knew it had nothing to do with the guy. It had everything to do with the setup that they had in their mind had as an opinion about the other community, right? So it all depends on the feedback your parents are giving you. If your parents are giving you feedback that there's something fishy about the guy, then you want to listen to that, because you know what? Sometimes in love, we are not able to see many things that outsiders are very easily able to see, okay? So I think it's all... You have to be very correct in terms of seeing where and what the feedback is, and is it even true. Like I remember speaking to one of my friends, and she says she was going to marry this guy who was not even 1/10 her status. And I said, you know what, how are you going to travel in a scooter? You're so used to the cars and everything. And she said, Pooja, it's just to go from one place to a second place. How does it matter? And I said, it may not matter today, but when you have children and you have to deprive your children of the education you got, when you see your children getting the things that you had much more of, then all of this love will go out of the window. So either you make yourself financially capable enough to match your standard of lifestyle for your children, or you will live a very unhappy life, because we will adjust, but we never want our children to have lesser than us. So you know what, I think there's a lot of criteria that go into deciding who's the right person. I want you to think of 5 years from now, if there is no love between you and him, will you still be able to like him as a person? Are you going to be able to respect him as a person? Because eventually the fantasy of the infatuated love settles, and that's when reality hits. And when your reality hits, do you feel like there's enough beyond the person so that you can continue to still be with him? Because I feel like in a couple of years, what I love about my relationship with Puneet is I have a lot of respect for him beyond the love that I have for him. I like him as who he is. I love how disciplined he is. I love how organized he is. I love how he keeps himself so healthy and strong, and gym and this and that. So as a person, I have admiration for him, which adds the love, right? So I want you to look at it the same way, that if it is just infatuation, if it is how he makes you feel, then you want to be very careful around that, because in the beginning, 90% of relationships make you feel special. But when that special goes, is there dum in the person is a very important concept, yeah? If it's a community, religion, those kind of things, then I can tell you that, it's better to assess the person rather than the mindset. Earlier on, all of these things used to make a lot of difference, okay? What I see now is the world has gone a lot more metropolitan. We as women know how to adjust to a lot more things. So that I can say that, it's not necessary. It's not necessarily true that this community will be like this only, or your spouse will be like this only because he belongs to one certain community. I'm not sure. Yes? Fabulous. Okay, get to Swati 7 is saying, I'm not able to express my ideas to my husband, so there is so much vacuum in our relationship. What should I do? So Swati, I want you to learn the art of communication, Meri Jaan. And one of the concepts I speak a lot about whenever I'm speaking on relationships, whenever I'm speaking on relationships, one of the concepts I like to speak about is called seeding, which means when you are speaking to your spouse and you are going to present an idea for the first time, I want you to treat it like 3-4 levels of a video game, which means you may not be able to cross the level at the first go. You know how we keep trying in video games and then we cross the level, we feel so good. So I want you to start with your husband being the no man. Okay, so the first time you pitch an idea, let's say, I'm taking any example, but let's say you want to go on a holiday. Yeah, I want you to begin with, I want to go on a holiday and get your first damn no. Okay, so let's say he says, are you crazy? We just came back 3 months ago. What are you thinking? I have work or not? You are Vella, I am not Vella. Got it? That's your first take. You've crossed level 1. I want you to treat it like that. Then I need you to move to level 2. Level 2 is a softer no, which is, देखेंगे, अभी नहीं पता मुझे, अभी मैं नहीं जा सकता. Softer no. Then it is maybe. Okay? So the maybe is, okay, talk to me in December. Level 3 crossed. You know, Radhika and Rahul भी गए हैं Maldives, झरना और आदमी गए हैं Maldives, ये भी गए हैं, वो भी गए हैं. Then you start giving this and बहुत अच्छी deal मिल रही है and you're slowly building your pitch. It's not a one night stand, it's a building a relationship. So you're building that trust that, you know what, I seriously want this. And then maybe your birthday comes and said, you have mentioned no that you wanted to go to Maldives, should we go to Maldives? Aha, tick. So, you know, Albert Einstein, I think, said this, or sorry, was it Graham Bell? He said it takes 1,000 steps to build a light bulb. It's not 1,000 failures, it's not 1,000 experiments that failed, it is 1,000-step process to build a light bulb. Same way, I want you to imagine all communication with spouse is a 5-step process. The no, the soft no, the maybe, the dekhenge, the yes, the full yes. Let's say this is the process. Now when you will speak, you will see a very different energy in you because you are not going in expecting a yes. You see, when we go in expecting a yes, we get angry, we get upset, we are like, everything is a no, anything I say, all my ideas are rubbish, you don't love me. We go off to a very different tangent. But when you are so strategic in your communication, you will start to see the level of patience. Now, what I've seen or learned about negotiation is the most present person and the most persistent person will always win. Present and persistent is what makes a good negotiator. So I want you to get completely present. That means have your ears open about what he's saying, because if you can find a solution around it. Let's say he's saying, no, Maldives tickets are too expensive. Okay, can we go to Goa then? Can you see how you've managed to circumvent his issue? Yeah, Goa is not a problem, but Maldives nahi ja sakta main abhi. Superb, let's start with Goa. Correct? So like that, I want you to start to, whenever you are in a conversation with someone where you want to influence them into a decision that you want to make, the more heard they feel, the more they will return the favor. Okay, so that's one, being present. Second is being persistent, which means, you remember how our children used to behave in a toy shop? Mama please, 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 till a time came where mama said, acha theek hai yaar, le le. Right? That's what you want to do. So if you remain persistent, the other person sometimes will make the effort because you're keen enough. So they just want to know that it's not a whim and fancy. It's not every day you come with a new idea and you want to convince everybody. They want to know you're really serious if they are going to have to put in the effort of taking the break, spending the money, blah, 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 right? So see, try doing this with your spouse this whole week, where you start with a no and move to a full yes. Start with a hard no, move to a full yes on the small things. It could just be a dinner, it could just be buying a top, it could just be so that you can get practice on these video game level strategy of seeding. ठीक है? Try कर लेना. Shruti Kakkar is asking, Pooja, we have issues on finance. He wants me to invest only where he wants and is totally influenced by his parents. Shruti, At the end of the day, if it is your money, it is your decision. It's as simple as that. Okay, so if you need to fight this fight, you better fight this fight, because if it's your hard-earned money, nobody but you should be deciding. You can have consultations with whoever you like, you can have perspectives from whoever you want, but at the end of the day, your money must get decided by you. The whole point of having money in your life is the freedom to be able to do whatever you like with it. If someone else is going to take your money and start to make decisions for you because they think better, you have to put up the kind of fight to protect your own. You're not protecting your money, you're protecting your choices, you're protecting your freedom. His money, his parents are more than welcome to influence. My money cannot be. Now let's say you're talking about joint finances or his money. If you're talking about his money and they are influencing him, they can. So parents and children have an energetic bond of exchange of energy where money also sits. So his parents, you, whoever he is close to can influence him, and at the end of the day, it's got to be his decision because it's his hard-earned money, right? So the person who earns it has the right to invest it. Now, if due to past experiences as a wife, you feel he's not great at investment, neither his parents are, nor is he, then I'd love for you to use the same concept of seeding, and over time, starting with a hard no, go to a full yes by showing him different samples and examples of what you are trying to tell him. Got it? Awesome. That's what I did for CC. Yeah, a lot of times when women are joining my courses, the man is like, are you crazy? Itna mehenga course, what's wrong with you? You know, teacher to rich ho jayegi, tum kab rich hoge, is often such sentences that my clients will hear or my students will hear. And I can tell you, that's how it all starts. You cannot expect someone who's not attended my sessions to believe in what I do. True? Just the way you don't believe in so many things, he comes up with ideas of, right? These things take time. So convincing people is an art that definitely I'm going to tell every single person in this room to spend time to learn. Okay? Lakshita's collections. Pooja, my father-in-law is not well and he needs some other supports for lifelong, but because of my mill, I'm losing my mental peace. If I ask my husband to shift to a new home, will it be selfish or I need to adjust? So Lakshita, that's the thing about aging parents. Aging parents can be a problem for the daughter-in-law for the simple reason that sometimes when one parent is not so nice and you're having to adjust, it gets much, much harder. Now you have to be in complete sync with your spouse. Okay, so what does that mean? If he wants you to stay in that house with his parents, which means he's expecting you to sacrifice, then there are a few boundaries and conditions you need to keep in return for you to be able to have your peace, right? So you need to speak to your mother regarding what she can or cannot do. You have to tell your husband that you know what, I'm okay with looking after my father-in-law, but she does the breakfast, I do the lunch, the cook does the dinner. We are going to create a full possibility. So you have to make a list of all the things currently that are annoying you, irritating you. You can't change her, but you can at least make your setup convenient enough for you to be able to operate in that energy, right? And because he's expecting you to make a bigger sacrifice, it's his job to make sure that he reduces the level of sacrifice that you're having to make. Because this seems like a long-term thing, you're not going to be able to. Or move out and he can then put conditions on you. So either you stay and you put the conditions, or you move out and he tells you, you know what, you have to every day visit my father for 30 minutes no matter what. Okay, I'm willing to do that. You're going to have to keep a nurse for him. Okay, I'm willing to do that. Okay, all of the food will get cooked from our house and go to their house. Okay, I'm willing to do that. So, on one hand, one person will have to set the boundaries and one person will have to do the understanding of those boundaries and give in, depending on who's making the larger sacrifice. If your husband is asked to move out, he's making the larger sacrifice, he's having to leave his aging parents, he will feel bad, guilty, selfish, right? If you are landing up staying, you are going to be the one feeling like, you know, I have to give so much here. So whoever's making the sacrifice, it is the job of the other partner to soften the sacrifice to whatever level. Okay? So no, it's not being selfish, it is being prudent. Because why I say that is because it's a long term thing. See, if it was a 1 month, 2 month thing, I would have said just adjust for your sake of your husband. But what if he lasts 10 years? God bless him, may he last 10 years. But 10 years of your life, you cannot live without peace, right? Your very crucial period of your life is going to just go away in being unhappy, which is also not okay. So you need that level of support. Whoever's parents it is, that is the person who has to give the support, because someone else from the outside is, if my husband has to do for my father and mother, I have to appreciate him. If I have to do for his mother, he has to appreciate me a lot more. Got it? So it's all about learning the balance of, do you both should, but one person out of the couple needs to do more for the other one who's giving more. Got it? Palak, please tell what to do when you feel like quitting your work because you get scared of your inconsistency leading to fear. Do you also feel like this? So Palak, I think it happens to me every week. So every week at some point in my journey, I will be like, why do I work so hard? Why am I creating new courses? Why am I creating 3 funnels? Why do I... So I will, it's just my way of being in my own pity party or self-sympathy of, gosh, I work too hard, right? But I don't let it last. Anytime I feel like quitting, I have understood all I need is a step back to rest. Resting is the beautiful answer to the desire to quit. When we overdo anything and we don't take a break, then the chances are that you will feel like quitting. Now, you've also mentioned that you are getting scared of your own inconsistency, which is leading to fear. So I think for you, it's not so much the question of, should I quit my work or not? It is that no matter what you do in life, start to treat your work as a personality builder. Start to treat your relationships as a personality builder. Start to treat your health as a personality builder. What do I mean by this? I use my career to become a more consistent, more disciplined, more organized person, because generally I'm not. But at work, you should see me. I don't think I've ever or maybe once missed a session, either because of sickness or because of technology or because of something. I rarely remember missing a session. I will show up. If I have made a promise, I will show up, I will show up. So I've built that inconsistent personality into a consistent personality through my work, right? Same way. Let's say I'm a very masculine energy person, but in my relationships, I want to show up feminine. So I build my personality to be extra loving, extra kind, extra available to people. So all of that I will keep trying to do. So that is also another thing that, you build your personality through all the opportunities you get. You get opportunities at work. You get opportunities. What's the point of retreating and becoming comfortable on the sofa, eating chips and watching Netflix? You're going to get irritated and impatient even with that after 1 month. True or not? So उससे भी irritate होना है, इससे भी irritate होना है. At least इधर तो पैसा भी बनेगा और भलाई भी होगी लोगों की. Correct? So why not make the better option? Why not take the better choice? You always have a choice to retreat. We as women, especially in India, are not even expected to work in most houses, which means we are doing this out of choice. If you're going to do something out of choice, I want you to do it the best possible. Otherwise, why are we even doing it? Correct or no? So Palak, I want you to start to ask yourself, what are the qualities I am building in myself through my business? And instead of focusing on your business or focusing on the money or focusing on the service, I want you to focus on who am I becoming in the process of building this business. Because if somebody had to ask me, Pooja, what's the #1 gift you have gotten from your career? Then I'm going to say the #1 gift that I've gotten from my career is the person I have become. The words used on me was immature, childish, greedy, lazy. These are all words that belonged in my heart with arrows of, these are the words people used to describe me as. Today, it's the exact opposite. I don't remember listening to the word lazy now in 10 years. I can't remember when was the last time I was called immature or childish. I can't remember the last time I was called greedy. All of these words have fallen away, and rather most complimentary words have been received by me. Now people say you're so large-hearted, you're so magnanimous, you are such a giver, you are so wise, you are so insightful, you are not lazy at all, you are so chust. These are the words I get. So you know what? When you start to remove the labels the world puts on you, there is a healing that happens and your soul and your aura grows. And so the journey, everything that we are doing on this planet Earth is to grow our soul journey, to grow our aura, to become the bestest version. Growth to me is the key word of life. Do whatever. I tell my children this all the time. You're not working for money. You're not working for skill set. You're working because every year when you compare yourself to the person you were last year, you should be a better person. If that is happening, whether it is better in your skill set, in your education, in your knowledge, in your relationships, if you are on a constant seeking of improvement, you are on the right track of life. So Palak, no giving up, no quitting, my darling. Let's make this happen, okay? And yes, I definitely feel it. Every now and then I will be like, kyun? Bhag jaungi main. So it's natural. And I think I don't like to think of it as a conflict in my mind कि मैं एक दिन तो बहुत excited होती हूँ work में, एक दिन बिल्कुल नहीं होती. I like to think of it as जो भी हम ज़्यादा करेंगे life में, there's an automatic balance switch that will start to tell us the opposite. Okay, so people who are eating very healthy are told बस diet ही करते रहती है. People who are eating unhealthy से बस burger and pizza से भर लो. So what I've seen is the world and your own brain continuously keeps giving you the opposite as the right answer to keep you in balance full time. If you can balance your own balances, which means you let this conflicting thought come and pass by. You know it's not supporting you. So then you just let it pass by. So I allow for all my fears, all my self-doubt, all my overwhelm, all my perfectionism to come, but without giving it any energy, I even let it pass by. You know, when I do my meditations, how I do my meditations is I'll sit on a river bank and then I will see all of my negative thoughts passing like boats. इसके अगेंस्ट ये जजमेंट है, उसके अगेंस्ट ये थॉट है, एंड आई जस्ट लेट दीज बोट्स पास बाय दैट यू नो व्हाट these thoughts don't belong to me. While these thoughts are mine, I am not them. Okay, so I let them pass till the good thoughts start to come, and then I see the boats are getting better and better. So try this meditation, it's beautiful, where every morning you just release all of the negativity, which means you don't resist. Maybe the thought will come, oh, what if dash person dies, or you know, some very negative thought that you won't even ever speak about. Let that boat pass. It's just a thought. Don't need to give it any energy. You give it energy, you will start to see it turning into thoughts, turn into feelings, feelings turn into actions, right? So you don't want to take the thought and turn it into feeling. Then you start to feel anxious, you start to feel panicky, you start to feel fearful, then you take rubbish actions because it was just a thought. Had you just let it pass, there was no need to do anything about it. Sometimes you may need to do something. Maybe you will catch the feeling, catch the action, do a better action. Very good. But most of the time, don't entertain that level of negative. Yeah? I always feel tired and I have no interest in anything. What to do? So Kirutika, my suggestion is when somebody writes to me that I'm always tired and I have no interest to do anything, somebody in their life is dictating their life to them. Okay? I want you to look at who are the people who are controlling your life, or who were the people who were controlling your life. We lose interest in life when we are made to do things we don't want to do. The more we have to do, don't we do that with our children? They wanted to join arts, but we said arts में तुम्हें कहाँ से कोई job मिलेगी? You have to do science. And then we put our children through 11th and 12th and they have no interest. So now we wonder, why are they always tired? Why have they no interest in life? Because they're having to do something they don't want to do. Now I want you to think of this, Kirtika, where you have generalized that I'm always feel tired and I have no interest. The real truth is you're not always tired. Notice when there are things that you're doing in your life that you actually like to do. Maybe you enjoy movies, maybe you enjoy dancing, maybe you enjoy technology, maybe you enjoy makeup, maybe you enjoy interiors, maybe you enjoy baking. I don't know what it is you enjoy, but there are things you can do. Every soul has a connection to its aliveness. And deep down, we know what makes us come alive. Okay. So I want you to make a list of every time you see yourself smiling, happy, joyful, excited, start to note down and start to see the pattern this month on what are the things that give you joy, because you will see a pattern. So, for example, I love helping people. I started to notice that as I was reading a lot of books, and I used to read a lot of self-help books, I used to really enjoy reading. And then when I used to interact with other people and share the knowledge I would have gotten through those books, became my most fun thing. When people used to tell me, oh my God, Pooja, how do you have the answer to this question? It used to make me feel like so amazing, right? So I realized that reading plus sharing that knowledge is what makes me come alive. Now, this could be used when I became teacher, I used it. When I became a counselor, I used it. Now when I'm a coach, I use it. In life, I will use it. So can you see how I've connected two things I love doing? Now I need you to make a list of all the things you love doing. And of course, if someone else is controlling your destiny in your future, if you don't have any exciting goals, if you are not growing as a person, then you know what? One of the ways God tells us that we are off track is by us not experiencing joy. If someone says, I'm not able to experience joy, it basically means you need to reinvent yourself. You need to move into 2025 is my year of reinvention. I've been doing the same thing for 5 years in a row, and I'm feeling like I want to change a few things around and do a few things differently. Still very much in this space, but different. I want you to start to look at how can you reinvent yourself. Remind yourself of the person you used to be maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and how things used to give you joy. Try doing those same things and see, do they still give you joy? Some things will and some things won't. The thing is now you have to go. For you, I'm going to give you a theme of 2025. Your job is exploration. Exploration basically means you cannot fail. You have to keep trying new things and make a list of things that give me joy, things I need to do or have to do, and things that I absolutely hate to do. The faster you can delegate the things that you hate to do, the faster you can start to awaken the aliveness, the vitality, the being present in the world wala energy. Okay, that energy is what actually makes us come alive. And when you come alive, nothing can stop you. You become a direct connector to the manifestation of the world. You will start to see your luck, your opportunities, your synchronization with life getting so much better. Mom's Ease Parenting is asking, how much is it important to invest on self for house help and self-care? So I'm a big believer that the number one thing that God has given us beyond our own house, beyond our own life, is the body in which we are residing. If we are the soul and this body is in which we are residing, then our first duty is to make sure this body looks good. Now, where is this body sitting? It is our duty to make sure the household looks good. Now, for the sake of the body and the environment, if I need help, then hiring help also is very important. So, how I want you to start to look at life is this soul that has been given to me to experience the earth plane. How can I make sure it experiences the earth plane at its bestest level, right? Now, if that is how I'm going to be thinking, then if God gave you a Ferrari, I want you to think of your body like a Ferrari, and you started to treat it like a Maruti, which means you allow for the crow to come and shit on it, you allow for it to be dirty and ugly, you allow for it runs at 10 car speed because you're not putting the right fuel, you're not looking after it, you're not cleaning it, then how will your experience of life be? Versus someone who is tip to toe, shining the Ferrari, making herself look amazing, operating with the highest energy, putting the right fuel, doing all the right things. God gave both of us Ferraris. Then which person is going to value the Ferrari will go much, much further in life than the one who's using the Ferrari like a Maruti. And so for me, my biggest realizations has been, how much do you want to live the Ferrari life? If you want to live the Ferrari life, it's very important for you to invest in house help, invest in self-care, invest in self-growth, do classes like these, come for sessions like these. Very, very important. But will everyone do it? Absolutely not. Why? Because they actually believe they don't have a Ferrari. They believe they have a Maruti. And one of my biggest realizations of my life is we will treat our life to the level we think. So if I start to believe I'm a Rolls Royce, I will become a Rolls Royce. If I believe I'm a Ferrari, I'll become a Ferrari. If I believe I'm a Khachda, Tanga, I will operate in Tanga energy. So what decides us to live our best life is the belief we carry of whether we deserve the best life. Now, my understanding is that God has given all of us a pack of cards dealt set of cards. You can look at your cards and He's given us the opportunity to keep changing our cards. Okay, so a rich person, a poor person can become rich, a non-educated person can become educated. Whatever our lackings are, we can look at our sets of cards and we can remain victim for the rest of our life, where we say, "Hi, मेरे को तो जोकर ही नहीं मिला. Hi, Ace of Spades तो उसके पास चले गया, King of Spades उसके पास चले गया, मेरे पास तो दुक्की तिक्की चौकी आई है, ये तो कुछ भी नहीं है." And they can spend their entire life looking at those set of cards, complaining and blaming. But then there is another set of people who look at their cards and say, "Oh wow, the good cards I can keep, the bad cards I can get rid of. So come, let's play the game of life." I got the cards of not being able to educate myself, not being able to go to college, no problem. I will educate myself the way I can. Okay, I got the set of cards where I didn't get a daughter, I got 2 sons. Okay, no problem. I badly want a daughter. Why should I have one daughter? I'm going to adopt the daughters of the world. I have now so many daughters, correct? So I kept changing my cards till it reached a place where I was like, okay, now my cards feel better, right? I'm going to give you the same advice. You have a set of cards today. Okay, and now God has given you all of the power, which is I call the power of choice. So all of the power is there, where every single morning you are waking up and making your choices. You are making one set of choices, you're complaining about another set, which means every day you may be putting chocolate cake in your mouth, but you're standing in front of the mirror and saying, "I put on weight so easily. That person doesn't even, has metabolism that I don't have. Anytime I eat, it turns into fat." You're saying all of this, but remember, what are you doing at the end of the day? You're eating the chocolate cake. You keep eating the chocolate cake, the science says you will grow fat, correct or no? So a lot of people in their life are not making new choices. They are making the old same choices, but going on talking against their choice as if God is doing it to them. Okay? My biggest lesson of life was when I went for the program under Jack Canfield. He spoke about a concept called taking 100% responsibility of your life. And I can tell you, if there is one concept, apart from maybe gratitude, that has completely transformed my life, then it is taking 100% responsibility of my life. Everything that happens to me, either I have done it or I've created it or I've allowed it. Either I've done it, I've created it, I've allowed it. When you start to, I don't know if it's true or not, but when you start to think in this manner, your ability to get a control on your life changes completely. And then you start to go, no one is at fault, I am in charge. And when you start to become in charge of your life, then you start to fix every aspect, which means you start to change your cards. And oh my God, you know what? The most beautiful thing that God has given us is this ability to be able to change our cards. We are not a tree that where we were planted, we have to remain. We are humans. We can choose anything from being vegetarian to being carnivorous. Whatever the spectrum is. In life, God said, let me give humans choice and let's see what kind of choices do humans make. And some of us are evolving in our choices and some of us are on a downward spiral with the choices. And the thing is, what I've started to notice is that 20 to 40 is very forgiving, okay? 20 to 40, even if you make bad choices in your health, in your career, in your journey, you can somehow escape through life. But suddenly you hit 40 and I see that people who haven't made the right choices in that 2 decades, land up, now it starts to show. So 40 to 60 is your revelation years, where it gets revealed to the world the choices you made. You didn't make good choices in money, you'll be struggling in money. You didn't make good choices in your relationship, you will see your marriage struggling. You didn't make good choices in your health, you will start to see your health deteriorating. 20 to 40 you can escape it. 40 onwards it all starts to get revealed. Okay, so it's so important that if you're listening to this Insta Live today and you are between 20 to 40, fix your choices today before you get embarrassed and revealed to the world, and then you'll only change because something from outside happened. 20 to 40 you can bring in change from self-motivation. 40, your blood report itself will tell you have to change. Your marriage itself, she will leave you go, he will leave you and go, and you'll have no choice. Why do you want to wait for God to make your decisions? Why can't you make your decisions instead? Make harder decisions so that God makes your life easy, rather than you make easy decisions and God makes it hard. Got it? How to join your top level courses. So I have this beautiful program which is called Passion to Profit. It's a 3-hour masterclass where I will share the link with you under this video. Just all you will need to type is P2P. Okay, you put P2P, come for Passion to Profit 3-hour masterclass and start the journey with me. At every level, I will show you the next level, the next level, the next level. And if you want to go on a beautiful 1-year journey with me, I would so love it, because I'm on a mission to help women create their own identity, become financially independent so that they can get the respect they deserve. This is my life's mission. And if this is something you've been looking for, to have your own identity, to have money in your bank account, your own money, as well as start to get respect from the world by first learning to respect yourself, then I have the perfect solution for you, Meri Jaan. So I would love to help you. All you need to do is type P2P underneath this video and you will get the link for my masterclass. Got it? Anju, ma'am, I set goals and stay motivated for a week and then it dies out, especially since at home and nobody is there to push and I have to wait for your weekly lives to motivate me again. That's so cute, Anju. So Anju, please use me at a weekly level. At least land up going 3 to 4 days. I have a lot of Insta lives. It's not 1 or 2, but I think now I must have crossed 100, I'm pretty sure. I've been doing them for 4-5 years and every week, so I'm maybe even 200 I may have crossed. I don't know the number. But I'd love for you to see how often can you re-motivate yourself. How often do you brush, Anju? Every day. How often do you eat, Anju? Every day. How often do you bathe, Anju? Every day. Then why are we being so stingy in our motivation? Okay, every single day. You don't need to spend the whole hour. Just go on my page, see whichever one you are liking, whichever Insta live is popping at you. Like I'll tell you how I choose a book in a store. I go into the bookstore and I just say, God, let the book come to me. Show me which book, next book I should be reading, because I love reading a book almost every 48 hours, right? So I need so many books. So I'll pick up like 10-15 books when I go to the bookstore. Whichever one I'm liking, kisi ka color, kisi ki topic, kisi ka author, kisi ki shape and size, kisi ka, doesn't matter. So I pick up all of that. Same way, I want you to go through my Insta lives and say which are the ones I'm liking. Take any one that you're liking that day and watch the first 10 minutes. Skip the dancing part, reach the where I'm going to Q&A and just watch it for 10 minutes. 10 minutes of daily puja, if I may subscribe you to, daily, okay? When you're brushing your teeth, let puja be on. When you're sitting on the pot, let puja be on. When you are eating your breakfast, let puja be on. For 10 minutes is all I'm saying. Watch me for 10 minutes every day. Watch anybody for 10 minutes every day. It doesn't have to be me. Just Google motivational videos, video on productivity, video on anxiety, video on today. YouTube is filled with more knowledge than you can ever consume. True or not? So I want you to spend 10 minutes of good input and then you will see the rest of your day you will have good output. What we put in, the beauty is we have to input 10 minutes for 23 hours to become good in output. Correct? Health, we have to put in almost 45 minutes to 1 hour for 23 hours to be fabulous. In mental health, 10 minutes is all it takes to put you in a positive state. Okay? How many of you understand what I'm saying? So from today onwards, Anju, your job is not to see me weekly, I'm going to tell you, please watch me every day for 10 minutes. You decide how you want to consume you. And even if it's not me, anybody you're allowed to watch till the time it's 10 minutes of optimistic knowledge and information, which means it should leave you feeling better. How do you know something is good or it has worked on you? It should return you to your peace. When we start watching something, let's say we are angry, we are upset, we are struggling, we are fearful, whatever the negative emotion is, in 10 minutes, do you feel better? Do you feel energized? Do you feel less upset? Do you feel like taking action? If the video is doing that, it's doing its job. Happy Mommy saying, I saved for the course and took it, but it was so worth it. Thank you so much, Pooja. Oh my God, it's always so good to hear when the courses have really helped people at a deep level, and always happy to receive gratitude on that. Hemlata saying, you're always so well groomed. This is so inspiring. Hemlata, actually I learned this from my mother, so I'll have to give her the credit. I remember even to go to GK market, she would put on her red lipstick. And I'd say, आपको वहाँ कौन देखने वाला है? And she says, मैं किसी और के लिए थोड़ी लगा रही हूँ, मैं तो अपने लिए लगा रही हूँ. And I always feel like she instilled into me that we dress up for our own confidence, not for others. So in my house, I don't have separate crockery for guests and separate crockery for myself. I don't have separate trays for guests, separate trays for myself. I don't have separate mats for others, separate. I put my best mat and my best crockery and my best everything for myself. किसने देखना है? मैंने देखना है. Okay? Same way, whether I'm going to go out or not, मैं रोज सुबह तैयार हो जाती हूँ. कंघी भी कर लेती हूँ, मेकअप भी लगा लेती हूँ. किसके लिए लगा लेती हूँ? अपने लिए लगा लेती हूँ. I think my mom instilled this in me so beautifully that now it's working to my advantage. But earlier on, I remember, because I got married in Chennai. Chennai is much simpler than Delhi. People used to make fun of me कि ये तो रोज सुबह ऐसे तैयार हो जाती है जैसे कहीं जा रही है, मतलब पता नहीं क्या करती है. Today it's working to my advantage. So I'm going to encourage all of you. See if this whole month, today is September 24th, go till October 24th, dress up every day for yourself. Just comb your hair, look pretty, feel pretty. It changes our confidence, it changes our aura. The way world receives us changes. So the world will receive you. Remember, world is a visual medium, okay? Which means aesthetics and beauty matters as much as we would like to believe that it doesn't matter. And for a long time, I rejected beauty as a concept. I thought it's a very superficial concept. But then I started to realize that economies in the world run on beauty. Why do we go to Eiffel Towers, Taj Mahal, Grand Canyon, nature? Why has God made nature so beautiful? Because he wanted, there is a certain amount of magnetic attraction that we get when we see anything beautiful, so that we create more beauty in the world, right? So when we see the Taj Mahal, there's a wonderment that happens in us. When we see a beautiful woman, there's a wonderment that happens in us. So it is our job to make sure our surrounding, ourselves, the world is more beautiful. And there are art people, heart people, and science people, as I like to divide the world into. And I say the science people will work on the innovations. The heart people will serve the world. I believe I belong to the category of the heart people. And then there are the art people. And the art people will just beautify everything. You put them anywhere, they will beautify that space. They have aesthetics in their clothes, in their surroundings, in their face. Like they just are aesthetically amazing. How many of you know such people? Yes? So, if you are, so even though I'm a heart person, I still must have 20% of science and 20% of art in me, okay? So all of us are combination. Nobody can be just one purebred. You may be a majority of one, but the other two, you also need to play with. So I'm not someone who'll spend more than 10 minutes getting ready. I'm very quick with my hair and makeup. I'm not someone who I take 2 minutes to get ready. Like I'm just not someone who wants to spend too much time in front of the mirror. Having said that, I will always make that special effort to always present myself in the best way. I may not be extreme enough to go get Botox and fillers and all of that, but I am very sure that I want to go to the salon, get my eyebrows done, get my upper lip done, at least look presentable. So there's a level to which I will go, not beyond. Some people will go all the way, some people will not do it at all. I'm going to recommend to all of you, little bit of tech we all need to learn. Little bit of beauty we all need to learn if that's not our main, if you're a heart person. Now, if you're a science person, emotions and beauty, both I will ask them to learn. If you're an art person, emotions and science, I'm going to ask you to learn. We need all three in different khichadis, combinations and permutations for us to be able to operate life at its highest. Whenever someone says, no, मैं तो ऐसे ही हूँ, मुझसे नहीं होता, not acceptable. You're a freaking human being as a diamond with 64 different facets. Why are you using only 10 facets of your diamond? Of course, your brilliance will be less if you block your own facets. You have so much. God put, I don't know, all of the intelligence of the world inside the human. And then the human limits itself by describing itself as one way. Who says we are one way? We are so much more than what we think we are. And the more we realize we are, the more we will gift to the world or give to the world. So I think our job in the world is to keep realizing how freaking amazing we are. We do the reverse. We keep noticing how freaking awful we are. You know, we are so quick to criticize ourselves and we take so much time to appreciate ourselves. We have to switch that. Oh man, it's already 9:55. How time flies so fast. Pooja, I am now mentored by Meena recently and we shared about your coaching too. So lovely to hear that. Meena is a great friend and absolutely fabulous. So happy to see her going ahead with all of her life scripting and all that she's doing. So proud of her. Happy mom. Because of my in-laws, I'm not getting any time. Yeah, that. But I'm guessing you're just writing the... Yeah, I understand. Yeah, sometimes we don't get time and we have to take out time in our life. And if you had to ask me, one of the reasons why I wake up at 4:30 is this, because 4:30 to 8 is self-investment time. So if you want tips, you just have to start to wake up earlier. You don't need to wake up at 4:30 if you don't choose to, but even an hour earlier gives you a huge edge in the world. Myself, Jimmy, I am meeting a guy for marriage perspective, but this person is trying to get physical in 3 meetings only. However, I already told him that I want to start with friendship and I want to know him first. Is he right? So I think one of the things we have to understand is that men today don't know how to operate because women are so quick to judge, right? Now, if he's a good man, now he's marrying you, right? So him being physically attracted to you is actually a good sign, right? But you can set your boundaries and you can say, so my suggestion to you is don't shame him, train him, okay? He is looking at you. Maybe he's never had a girlfriend before. Maybe he was waiting that the day I get engaged is when I will kiss the girl the first time, be with the girl the first time. This could be not just creepy, it could just be his love for you. And some men and women can fall in love much faster than someone else who's far more guarded. So don't shame him, train him. Let him know that, you know what, I'm not comfortable yet. We're gonna have to wait a little longer. Or this is how much I'm comfortable with. Beyond this, I wouldn't like to do. And you have to keep communicating with him and watch his response. If he is able to build that trust, then you know you're with the right guy. So it's not about who's right. A man putting out physical advances today is considered such a cringe. But tell me something honestly, don't you think God biologically made the two genders to be attracted? So why are we judging? You know, first God made us women peacocks and then we keep criticizing people for looking at us. We are freaking peacocks. You have to understand that he's gotten engaged to you because he's extremely attracted to you. And he may not know how to manage his attraction, so he may be trying. Till the time he's trying, it's okay. He shouldn't force himself on you at any point in any way. His job is to keep looking at how to make you comfortable. A good man wins the trust first, then gets physical, right? You have to train him into becoming a good man, which means at any point on this whole journey of your courtship, you can pause him and say, I'm sorry, I'm not ready yet, or I'm not ready for that yet. You know, I remember when we were younger and we used to have boyfriend-girlfriend concepts, we used to have level 1, base 2, base 3. So when our friends wanted to discuss these things, we never used to say we've kissed the guy. Say crossed base 1, crossed base 2. So you'll also have to see, you know, how comfortable does he make you to cross base 1, cross base 2. You don't want to cross any of the bases. You just want to have friendship before you move into anything physical. Maybe you want to keep all of your physicality for the first night. Maybe you don't even want to do it on the first night. Maybe you'll take even longer. I don't know what your situation is going to be, but I just want you to know a man being physically attracted to you who's your fiance is a compliment. I would be far more worried if it was reverse. If he was showing no physical interest in you after getting engaged to you. That to me is a red flag. This to me is normal, to be very honest, unless he's doing it in an undignified manner where he's not respecting your boundaries, then it's a red flag. Got it? Okay, it's 10 o'clock, so time to run. Okay, fabulous. All right, let's quickly, you know the drill. Let's quickly get the pictures and then I'm going to ask you to share it in your stories. What was your biggest takeaway from today? What did you learn today? If you can put your one takeaway with my picture in your story, tag me so that I can share it in my story. Come on, let's do it. Sipping. Got it? Okay. Tell me your biggest takeaway in the story and I will share it. Thank you so much for coming. Loads of love. Have a great, fabulous week. Stay motivated. Conquer the world. Enjoy yourself. And I will see you next week with a brand new Insta Live. Don't forget to share P2P under this video once I share it if you want to be invited or you want the link for the masterclass. Love you all. Ciao. Bye.